So far, Marvel has had an excellent track record with their Netflix shows, with 1 season of Jessica Jones and 2 seasons of Daredevil. I've personally loved all 3 of these, and with one of my favorite supporting characters from Jessica Jones getting his own show, I was beyond excited. So, let's talk about Luke Cage.
This city is supposed to represent our hopes and dreams.
And warning, I'm gonna be talking about the show with spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, come back when you have. So, does Luke Cage live up to the enormous amount of hype around it? Yeah, I would say so. I do have some problems with it, but overall, it's pretty incredible. Firstly, the cast is great in this. I loved Mike Coulter as Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, and he's even better here. He can totally carry his own show. He's perfect as this character. Everyone else in this was good too. Misty was great, Rosario Dawson was great. She seems a bit like the Nick Fury of this Netflix universe, how she's in all these shows, and she's kind of pulling all these heroes together. The villains in this are fantastic all around, for the most part. Cottonmouth is an awesome villain. I loved that guy whenever he was on screen. Unfortunately, he's not on screen for about half the series, but we'll get to that later. While he was there, he was a super intense, really cool villain. He also had a pretty great evil laugh. I would say Mariah Dillard was the most despicable of all the villains. Out of all the characters in the show, I hated her the most. So props to the actress and the writers on very effectively just making her a piece of garbage human being. Also, just a question, she's not the same person she played in Civil War, right? I don't know, it gets confusing when you have one actor playing 2 separate characters in the same universe. Also, as far as villains, Shades was pretty awesome. He was just such a slimy, greasy, horrible person, and he made for a great villain / henchman. Now, I feel like I have to address this. Much like the other Marvel Netflix shows, this is not a kid's show. Unlike the films, which I think pretty much anyone of any age can enjoy, this is for a bit of an older audience. It's quite brutal in a lot of parts, not as brutal as something like Daredevil Season 2, but still, it's pretty violent. And on that note, a lot of the action here I thought was really cool. I like seeing Luke Cage just walking through a building being completely unfazed by anything, and just beating up some criminals. Not all of the action is great, and it gets a little bit repetitive at times, but most of it is pretty solid. In terms of choreography, it doesn't compare at all to what we saw in Daredevil, but still, pretty good stuff. Now, everyone's been talking about the way this show addresses race in America and black culture and all that, and yeah, it touches on those things in a really interesting way, seeing it through this superhero show lens. This is the first Marvel superhero type thing that I've seen really focus on black culture and racial issues, and it does it in a really interesting and powerful way. The show is emotional in a few parts, like when the barbershop gets shot up. Even though I saw it coming, when it actually happened, I was like, that just really sucks, and Pop dying was really sad. The show is also dark in a lot of parts, although I would say of these Netflix shows, this one is the least dark so far. It's funny in a lot of parts, and a lot of the time, it's just very enjoyable and fun to watch. Like when Luke Cage is just marching around town in a suit, throwing out one-liners and beating up criminals, that stuff's great.
Don't you need a gun?
I am the gun. Yo, plug 1, plug 2.
What is this, your boyfriend?
There are some references to the larger MCU here, specifically to Iron Man 2 and Justin Hammer, which I found interesting. Again, I love seeing this corner of the Marvel Universe. It makes it feel much more like a real world, and it makes the characters feel more human. The show also has some really awesome music, which is something that I've heard a lot of people talking about. Yeah, the show's music is great. Now, with this whole Luke Cage being invincible thing, it does become kind of the Wolverine problem. This guy's invincible, so there aren't really any stakes. Nothing can hurt him. So, the show did what the X-Men movies have done with Wolverine, and A, had him be around people who could get hurt, and then later, B, actually have him get hurt himself. And that did spice it up a bit, and make this a bit more tense. However, now we need to talk about the negatives here. And really, there's just one main thing that I didn't like about this that branches off into smaller problems. And essentially, it's what comes after Cottonmouth dies. Now, for the record, episodes 8 to 13 are still really good. There's some great moments, they're still entertaining, and they are some quality episodes. However, for me, they just didn't stack up to the stuff we'd seen before. All of the memorable parts of the season for me came in that first half. Luke going through that kind of safe house, the confrontation at the end of episode 2.
You wanna shoot me? Do it. Pull the trigger, nigga!
I ain't got all night.
All that stuff Cottonmouth does, whenever someone mentions Luke Cage to me, I think of those first 7 or so episodes. Diamondback is really the main villain for the show, and he was a pretty cool villain, but for me, he wasn't as good as Cottonmouth. Side note, when Cottonmouth died, that took me way by surprise. That was an actual legitimate twist that knocked me back. But while that was a cool twist, having what we thought was the main villain die halfway through, the villain that came after him just wasn't as good. He's good, just not as good. The twist where it turns out he's Luke Cage's brother, I don't know, that felt a little bit over the top to me, or at least the reveal.
I loved you like a brother.
Nigga, I am your brother.
Also, Diamondback's suit at the end looks really stupid. Like, I'm glad they acknowledged it. I agree, he does look like a pimp stormtrooper.
What the hell? What type of Jean-Paul Gaultier shit is this? What are you, a pimp stormtrooper?
But then there's supposed to be this kind of raw, emotional fight, and I just couldn't take it seriously with this suit being worn by an otherwise decently intimidating villain. And all this sort of sums up how this show went for me. It went from feeling like a grounded, very real Marvel Netflix show, like Daredevil and Jessica Jones, to feeling like an MCU movie instead. There's a big, over-the-top villain in a weird suit, there's less subtlety and more of an in-your-face kind of plot. Don't get me wrong, I love the MCU movies, but that vibe just didn't really mesh that well with this grounded world they set up. And I personally feel like they wasted a chance to do something really special with the finale, and instead went with something that I thought was just kind of meh. I don't know, could just be me, maybe some people will love the second half and hate the first half, and I'm sure there are people who loved both, but I just thought the second half, while good, lacked the greatness that I was loving in the first half. Those first 7 episodes felt really even and well-paced to me, and then the rest felt just a little bit scrambled and kind of rushed. This is kind of a problem all of these Netflix shows have, that they're 13 episodes. This and Daredevil Season 2 could have been 10, maybe even 9. There's just that little bit extra in there that makes this feel a little bit long-winded to me. I hope I didn't make it sound like I hated this season here. I didn't. I enjoyed it all the way through. I just felt like halfway through it went from an incredible show to a pretty good show. Also, last thing, kind of unrelated, this isn't really a complaint, but I was really hoping we'd see Matt Murdock pop up here. Rosario Dawson keeps mentioning him, and I think it would have been epic to have a Matt Murdock cameo in here. Seeing him defending Luke Cage in court would have been amazing, but no, he never shows up. Guess I have to wait till next year to see that. So in conclusion, Luke Cage is an awesome show. It really is. It just took quite a dip in quality for me, a little over the halfway point. Those later episodes are still good, but they weren't nearly as compelling to me as what had come before. However, the show is still a fantastic addition to the MCU, and the positives by far outweigh the negatives. It definitely sits up there with Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and I'm giving Luke Cage a 9 out of 10. So those were my thoughts on the new Luke Cage Netflix show. What did you think of it? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram at BHL_Hudson, check out my Twitter at BHL_Hudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.